state. Now, there's one export that some people would like to send from our state to yours. His name is John Kerry, and you've got keep him right where he is, right? You've got to know a good deal about him. It's interesting in politics. It's pretty much standard operating procedure that when you're running for office, you look at your opponent's record, you find some place where he or she has changed position, and you say they're a flip-flopper. And that's a pretty standard thing. But in this case, this guy really is. This guy is different than you have experienced before. And Rudy Giuliani, who was fabulous last night, and John McCain, they were fabulous. They pointed out just how many places he had changed positions. And I won't go through that whole list, but it's just extraordinary. I've tried to think why it is that he has changed so often, why he finds it so difficult to come down on one side of an issue, instead sort of floats between both issues and both sides of things. I mean, he voted, as you know, for the No Child Left Behind Act, but now is very critical of it. Voted in favor of the Patriot Act, now is opposed to it. Voted on both sides of the Iraq war. Voted on both sides, or spoke on both sides of his support of Israel and Palestine. It goes back and forth on the issue of gay marriage, which has been a big issue in our state. He said he opposes gay marriage, but he's not in favor of a federal constitutional amendment. But then he says he's in favor of a Massachusetts constitutional amendment. So he again, it's how can he take a position which tries to satisfy both sides? And I think the problem for those who look at John Kerry, for those that don't understand how he can be so vacillating, it stems from the fact that he is very conflicted, that he is drawn in two different directions, very powerfully. If he's with an audience, he wants to identify with and satisfy that audience, and will say what he thinks they want to hear. And if that audience, for instance, is on one side of an issue, he'll follow that. On another, it'll follow another. Right now, with regards to Iraq, in his own party, he has a problem. He has people in his party, and they were out demonstrating the other day, saying, "Get our troops out now." That's what they're saying. I don't think that's the majority of his party. I think the majority of his party, or close to the majority, says, we didn't like getting in there, but finish the job. But he's got both in his party, so he's trying to be on both sides. He's trying to have those demonstrators vote for him, at the same time have the more mainstream Democrats vote for him. And as a result, he ends up not sounding like he can take a position one way or the other. With regards to education, he cares very deeply about education. I'm convinced of that. But he's got a problem. It's a conflict. His conflict is he needs the support of the teachers' union. It's one of the strongest sources of strength in the Democratic Party. So he knows that the key to improving education is supporting our teachers, having merit pay for our teachers, having school choice in our schools, making sure that a principal has the ability to hire and fire teachers. But he can't say that because the teachers' union is against all that. So he's conflicted. The same thing happens when he looks at something that draws him. Take something like the size of government. He recognizes that the government needs to be more efficient, more effective, smaller, downsized, and yet he has the municipal workers' unions that are his strong supporters. So he can't say those things. He'd like to see health care more affordable. He recognizes, of course, like anyone who looks at health care, that if you're going to make it more affordable, we have to find a way to take out this malpractice defensive medicine that's being practiced and the huge malpractice awards. We have to cut back on what these trial lawyers are taking out of our health care budgets. And yet he's supported by the trial lawyers, even picked one of them to be his running mate. So he's conflicted. And he's conflicted on so many issues, he sounds like, and actually is a person incapable of coming down firmly on one side of a key issue. I think it was Conan O'Brien who gets credit for a joke, which I thought was kind of cute, about Senator Kerry. They said there's one place he's consistent, and it relates to his dating. And I thought, his dating? This is, of course, while he was not married. I don't want to suggest. He said he's dated some very impressive women. He's dated Michelle Phillips. He's dated Dana Delaney. Remember her of NYPD Blue, that very lovely young lady. He's dated Morgan Fairchild. All these. But when it came to time to get married, the first time he married a woman worth $100 million. And that marriage didn't work out. He married a second time. He married a woman worth $500 million. So one place where he's consistent, when he says he's going after the rich, he's not kidding. So Conan O'Brien gets the credit for that, not me. laugh and joke about that kind of inconsistency and vacillation, and yet as we look at the times that we face, it's really not a joking matter when we think about the importance of leadership in our nation today. When we think of how broad the attacks are that America is enduring, we recognize how deep and strong a leader we must choose to lead the free world. Last night, both John McCain and Rudy Giuliani spoke, I thought, eloquently on the nature of the attack that we face militarily. I think there